What's up, everyone? I'm back again. I know it's been a minute since I made a video again, but I've been really busy, and making and shooting and working and doing all kinds of other things. So just gonna do kind of a quick video today, I guess. I wanted to show off my personal collection. These are Slingshots that I probably won't sell for one reason or another. We'll get into each one of them as the reason comes up. But this is like what I would consider, for me, my own personal Slingshots that I wouldn't give up. I would rather just make another one to sell if I was going to sell it to somebody else. So we'll start with a couple of... start top left corner. These are a few that I would consider like souvenirs. This one, after I bought my house, it was the first house that I bought, me and my wife, I actually cut this slingshot off the tree in the front yard, and I got to leave one side of the bark on. It's a maple tree. It's coated in epoxy. Nice long forks on there, but the width of the fork is actually really nice. Fits in my hand great, and it's from my, kind of my first house, and so I wanted to memorialize that. It's banded up right now with some really, really old, precise .75, I believe, and they'll probably break if I try to shoot it right now because they're about 2 years old, so I won't show actually any shooting today. This one is a souvenir that I picked up when I went on a trip to Tennessee. It was in a souvenir shop, and I thought it was kind of funny. I've seen slingshots like this all over the place, but it actually kind of looks like nice, older kind of spalted wood. I'm pretty sure it's real wood. Whether or not it's board cut or whatever, it's no big deal, but kind of fun. It's like really old gum rubber latex on there, and it's got like a 2-to-1 stretch ratio. It barely stretches, but it's fun to shoot around with and just have fun with. This one is a very recent one that I made. Actually, I picked this up when me and my buddies went up to Michigan. It's from a big tree fork, and I found it on the last day that I was there. Really lucky that I got a good one, and it's coated in epoxy, of course, but man, that fits my hand great and nice and deep swell. I have big hands, so I need kind of a big slingshot, but it's a nice one. This one I picked up when I was in North Carolina, and hiking trip. I basically just cut this, sanded it, coated it in epoxy. Didn't do a whole lot of shaping with that one at all, but it's a nice one. Moving on, this is the only, still to this day, this is the only slingshot that I've ever bought personally. When I was a kid, I had a Daisy wrist rocket. I think a lot of kids did, but I've never bought a slingshot except for the Evo, and it's still absolutely one of my favorites to hold. It's my favorite to bring with me no matter where I go. It's a little bit weighty, but it's nice to know that I can pull this one out and never have to worry about breaking it or not knowing it's there, because it's got some weight to it, it's got some heft. The grip, the texture grip is awesome. It's really similar to like a barbell, which is like second nature for me. Wayne did an excellent job with this. I love this one. This one was one that I made from a drawing that my daughter made on a piece of paper. And we actually made a mold of this one to make some epoxy slingshots with, some resin slingshots with. But I think that it came out really beautiful. It's coated in resin. It's real little for my hand, but it's just a sentimental piece. I made this from a design that my daughter did, so I'll probably keep that one forever. This one's my current everyday shooter, made with some type of wood. From what I think, I found out that this is actually sumac wood. I was lucky enough not to have any kind of allergic reactions while I was working with it, because I didn't know what it was. And it had some holes that went from the top of the fork down through here, and then from the bottom of the frame up through here. So I filled that in with some epoxy and got like a purplish grayish mica powder to put in there. And I love this Slingshot. I just love the way that it looks. I love the colors. The lighting in here doesn't do it any justice at all. It's just a beautiful piece. You know, particularly proud of that one. This one was one of my first attempts with micarta. You could kind of see the contrast there, but it's actually just cloth micarta. I used old t-shirts, a green and a black one, and I like it for a tube shooter. Fits my hand great. This is an old one of the first natural forks that I ever made. And at one point I had it coated, but I had sanded the coating off because I noticed that it started to crack more and more, and this was actually one of the Slingshots that I did before I realized that there may still be moisture inside there. So it's probably good to go now, but you can see the cracking here and here. It's almost like a gigantic pickle fork, and actually I shoot with the frame in my left hand, so I can show you that. The gap's not too wide on that one, but yeah. It's a group down here that I will call my replicas, because they're basically replicas that I made of really popular Slingshots. This is a replica of the Torque. It's a larger scale than the Torque because, again, I have large hands. And again, I'm going to show you my left hand. I really like the Torque Slingshot. I like the look and the design of it, and I wanted to make one of my own. So I used a couple layers of plywood there and made a replica. And then this is another replica of the Torque. It's a little bit smaller. I think it's more to scale. And I actually cut the slots for the for the tube attachments on this one. And these tubes are actually really powerful. I forget where I got them, but I was shooting my 11 mil steel with those over 200 feet per second. I can't remember what this one's called. You guys will probably crucify me for it. I think it's made by Can Opener. A little bit older design, but I really like that one, and I can pinch grip it really nice. Can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll probably remember as soon as I turn the camera off. This was my poor attempt at a PPMG replica. This is one of the ones that I learned to shoot through the forks, but I don't like shooting through the forks, and I realized that only after I had made it. The fork gap on there is also humongous. Like it's way bigger than the fork gap on this guy, and yeah, it does not shoot well because of it. So, you know, this is obviously something I made for myself and that I'll never sell. Would never sell something like this. But just to make the replica and to see, you know, how I like it, and for my own interests, you know, if I really like shooting TTF, then I would continue shooting, maybe just make another one and adjust the fork, but I ended up not really liking TTF. This is banded up with one of my TheraBand Gold sets. The TheraBand Gold. It's a very old set because I don't shoot these very much anymore. And this one is one of my first Slingshots that I ever made. It's a Rambone replica. And you can tell the work is pretty amateur. But everyone's got to try to make a Rambone at least once in their life, I think. And, you know, fits so well in the hand. And I don't know. One of these days, when I get a few extra dollars, I'll definitely end up buying a Rambone because, you Jorg's like a personal hero of mine, so we'll see. And then this is a Rambini replica that I made from resin. Again, it's not a very good one. This is a really early design of mine. It was very early in when I started making Slingshots, so they're not very great. But it shoots really well. Thumb and finger support, pinch grip. It's actually really nice, and they're very, very thin and very pocketable, and this epoxy is like super strong, so yeah, you'll never have to worry about breaking it, at least. This is a pickle fork that I made from micarta. You can kind of see the layers there. It's felt micarta. And I got a crackling effect on the outside, which I really, really like. Still debating whether I want to coat this in epoxy. It'll probably, if I do, it'll probably take away that crackling effect, at least as far as the feel of it goes. But I don't know. We'll see. This is one of the naturals that I made, and this is the first and only slingshot I ever took out slingshot hunting, and it's the first and only slingshot I've ever taken game with. A couple of squirrels up there in Michigan. Plywood caps, because the forks were kind of rotten up there, and I had ended up cutting them far too short. So I just capped them off with plywood, and it works great. It's coated in epoxy. It's a little bit narrow on the forks, how I like them, but I actually shot really, really well with this when I was up there. I was very surprised with my accuracy, and I brought this one because it's a natural, and I felt like my first hunting experience should be something that I made, and I really like that one. This was an original design of mine, and it's one of the ones that I made a mold from that I make resin slingshots out of right now. Very simple design, very smooth rounded corners. It's thick. This is 2 layers of 1/2-inch plywood, so it's an inch thick. Banded up with some 0.8 shishu right now. I shoot this one pretty regularly. The taper on this shishu is thick, so you know, I only really shoot 11 mil steel with this one. Nice, pretty used up real leather pouch on that one, but I actually really like this one. This is a slingshot that every time I pick it up and shoot, I seem to be pretty accurate with. I can put it down for weeks at a time and pick it right up and shoot it right off the bat, and I'm pretty accurate with it. It only takes me a few shots to get it dialed in. So this is like a backup reserve slingshot in my back pocket that I think I'll probably take the next couple of times I go hunting, just because it really fits me well, fits my hand well, fits my style well. This is a slingshot that I made from rebar. You know, I cut a length of rebar and heated and twisted and put some paracord wrapping on there and some latex tubing, and it's weird to shoot with. It's real thin, but it's strong because it's steel, it's rebar, and I do like it a lot. Nice pinky hole right there. Lanyard's nice. It's just kind of an experiment, really, more than anything. This one, I drew and cut it out. So I drew it on the plywood freehand, cut it out with a jigsaw, and it became the base for this model. But again, it's really rough, and I did it years ago, a couple years ago now, but I still love it. I don't know what it is about it. I got some loop tubes on there, amber loop tubes. Again, these are so old they'd probably snap as soon as I shot this, but I just love this slingshot. I don't know what it was about it. I had to keep it. I have to you know, show it off. It's just weird. It's not a very nice looking slingshot, and it's very squared. It's not very rounded, so it's kind of uncomfortable, but there's just something about it I love, and I'll probably never get rid of it. This is the monster tube shooter that you've probably seen on my channel a dozen times already. Paint's starting to chip and all kinds of stuff. The tubes are actually, this is made from PVC pipe, a 1-inch PVC pipe, and the tubes are actually stuck down in there with a 9.5 mil steel ball inside the tube. So it's a tube, it's a ball and tube method. But these tubes, as you've probably seen before, are just not very good unless you're shooting very heavy ammo. This was one of my first attempts at a Starship, I think they're called, where it's like a fork extended shot, and right now I have non-latex, double layer, TheraBand black, and huge leather pouch. This will be for when I start shooting golf balls, I think. And last but not least, there's a few of my little guys. Everybody needs a frameless, the keyring slingshot. I got this on Wish for like $3. This is metal. It's heavier. It may be steel, but I think it's very cheap steel. Because the magnets don't stick to it very easily. This was one of the original figure 8 descenders that I made. And nobody really likes the silver color. I can't seem to sell them for whatever reason. And this green latex is GZK 0.62. A little bit newer leather pouch, same one that's on the other guy, but this one's been shot a lot less. And this is my everyday carry. I have this in my bag all the time with me everywhere I go. It's just fun to bust these out and carry them around. They're basically indestructible. They'll last forever. You just got to replace the bands like any slingshot, but they're actually real light for their size. And yeah, it's the descenders, man. I love these descenders. I love them so much I actually made a 1/2-inch plywood replica. And this is a BB shooter. I actually shoot 1/4 inch out of this now. I did have BB bands on there before, but yeah, I shoot 1/4 inch out of this thing now. And I really like that one. This is the Strange Design. I can't remember the brand of this. I don't know if that's the brand or what, but Strange Design. It's also a figure 8 descender, but you can see the dimensions of it are a little bit different. And even though this one's a little bit more awkward to hold, I still really like it. And there's something about it that it just fits me really well. I really like this one. I wouldn't make one or sell one like this because I'm not confident in them. I make and sell these, but I do really like this one just to add to my collection. There's another descender. This one was one of the Black Diamond brand, and again, the dimensions are different. It's much shorter. Fork gap is the same, actually, and this actually feels a lot lighter. I don't know if there's just less material in this one or what, but you can see how they're different. This one's got 0.8 shishu on it. It's cut at a much thinner taper though. And then this was, you can see the difference in size there. A different descender, rated for a lot heavier weight, and I ended up cutting a bunch of it off because it wasn't comfortable to hold. So it's just a fun kind of project for me. But yeah, those are my slingshots. My collection, my own personal ones, the ones that have some sort of meaning for me or whatever. I'll never end up selling any of these. They're gonna stay with me forever. But who knows? Especially some of the ones that I like shooting a lot more, I might make replicas of and you know, send them out or sell them. But anyway, thanks for watching again. You know, I'm gonna be making some more videos here soon, so stay tuned. But stuff's, you know, getting a little bit slower now, so I'll have some more time. But anyway, thanks.